On August 26, 2014, at about 9:20 p.m., two officers from the Omaha Police Department were responding to a call for backup made by Detective Darren Cunningham. Riding with the officers were two crew members from the Cops television show, camera operator Michael Lee and sound supervisor Bryce Dion. The officers were responding to an armed robbery at a Wendy's restaurant.
Wendy's 4-3 in Dodge. Suspect wearing that black hoodie.
Someone just robbed it?
Yeah.
We in the area?
Yeah.
Hit that light.
That's clear. 346, 347. Heavy bullets around.
We're arriving.
That's clear, 46. 347.
Same description, Brooks? You got somebody running up.
Hey, where are they running?
Are you alright? Are you alright? Bryce, are you alright? Bryce, are you alright? Bryce! We need squad here, we need squad. Bryce! Bryce, stay with me, man, stay with me.
When officers Brooks Riley and Jason Wilhelm entered the restaurant, they witnessed the suspect, 32-year-old Cortez Washington, holding a handgun. According to witnesses, he fired his weapon at least twice towards Riley and Detective Cunningham, which prompted them to return fire. Washington started running towards the restaurant's entrance as the officers continued shooting and the crew continued filming. Bryce Dion was caught inside the vestibule that Washington was using to flee and was struck once by the police's gunfire. The 38-year-old was wearing a bulletproof vest, but the bullet struck him right below his left arm, an area unprotected by his vest. This single bullet proved to be fatal, as he would later be pronounced dead at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. Washington was able to escape the restaurant, but almost immediately collapsed in the parking lot after sustaining several gunshot wounds. Reports claim that the officers fired roughly 30 rounds during the course of the shootout. Washington would also die from his injuries shortly afterwards. It was later discovered that the weapon he was holding was an airsoft pellet gun. According to authorities, it looked and sounded indistinguishable from a normal firearm. Police described Washington as having an extensive criminal history. In August 2011, he pled guilty to second-degree robbery of a jewelry store in Missouri. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison but was released on parole after serving 2 years. He moved to Nebraska in September 2013, and his parole was set to expire in June 2017. Washington was also previously convicted of drug charges, eluding police, and property damage in Kansas. The day after the deadly shooting, Washington's family voiced their criticisms on media outlets, calling the police's account of events as bogus. Washington's sister-in-law claimed the airsoft gun that he used was simply a toy, and that it didn't sound like a real gun like the police claimed. She also challenged the idea that Cortez was a repeat offender. While she didn't condone his actions to rob the restaurant that night, she described him as a family man to his 6 children, and that neither he nor Dion deserved to lose their lives. She said, "My condolences go to the Cops TV employee and his family, but we are all victims in this." Cops is one of the longest-running television programs in American history, airing its first episode in 1989 and continuing to the present day. At the time of the incident, the show had been on the air for 25 years. This was the first time that one of their crew members had been killed during filming. The only other major incident involving a Cops crew member was in September 2009, when a drunk driver veered into the wrong lane and rammed into a police vehicle. One of the crew members riding inside it suffered severe but non-fatal head injuries from the crash. Shortly after the shooting, the 3 officers involved, Detective Cunningham, Officer Riley, and Officer Wilhelm were put on administrative leave. After an investigation was launched, a grand jury cleared them of any wrongdoing in March 2015. The following year, Bryce Dion's estate filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Omaha. They alleged that the police department failed to adequately protect the film crew, and the officers on scene failed to monitor and communicate the crew's whereabouts to each other. They also claimed that the officers used excessive force and acted unreasonably in light of the presence of innocent bystanders. Prosecutors argued that the officer's response was reasonable and that Dion voluntarily put himself in a dangerous situation without notifying the officers of his presence. According to court documents, Dion had been working with Omaha police for 8 weeks prior to the shootout. The only restriction placed on crew members was that they had to stay in a patrol vehicle if police were responding to a situation involving 10 or more people. Otherwise, it was expected for crew members to follow the officers and their orders. In court, the officers testified that they weren't able to see that Dion was in their line of fire, and that they wouldn't have fired their weapons if they did see him. One officer claimed that earlier in the altercation, an employee of the restaurant was caught in his line of fire, forcing him to reposition himself. It was ultimately ruled that the officers acted reasonably during the incident, and the case was dismissed. An appeal was filed that made its way to the Nebraska Supreme Court, who agreed with the lower court's ruling. On September 20th, 2014, the Cops program aired an hour-long special dedicated to Bryce Dion. It showcased many of the episodes he helped on over the 7 years he worked on the show. John Langley, the show's co-creator, said during a press conference, "He really is one of our best. He's a very talented guy, and he did something that he loved and was passionate about." Omaha Police Chief Todd Schmaderer spoke about the camaraderie that his officers and the show's crew members shared together. "This is as if we lost one of our own. He was an incredible man, and the tears and hugs that I got when I got to the hospital, I could feel the pain of the officers in this matter." Before working for Langley Productions in 2007, the Massachusetts native had earned his master's in film studies at the University of Miami before moving to Santa Monica, California to pursue his career in film and television. It was clear that he had a deep appreciation for the arts. He wrote several screenplays and articles for newspapers and magazines. He also knew how to play the guitar and the clarinet. He was remembered by his peers for being incredibly friendly, helping people out whenever he could, and being able to smile in nearly any situation.